Assalamualaikum to Dr. Fahatul and all my friends. For our case study presentation today, we will be discussing about the Arab Spring, a significant series of events that have profoundly shaped modern history. My name is Nurul binti Sallehuddin, and I will begin by introducing you to the Arab Spring, its definition, triggering factor, and the country involved. The Arab Spring refers to a series of large-scale protests, uprisings, and demonstrations that began in late 2010 across the Arab world. These events were fueled by widespread dissatisfaction. Next, moving on to the factors that triggered the Arab Spring. The first one is social injustice. Many people in the Arab world felt the government was not addressing their basic needs. There was widespread poverty, unequal distribution of wealth, and little hope for economic mobility. The second factor is corruption. Governments in these countries were often seen as corrupt, with leaders accumulating wealth and power while the general population suffered. This contributed to a sense of frustration and betrayal among citizens. The third factor is unemployment. High levels of unemployment, especially among the youth, were a significant driver of unrest. Many young people faced bleak prospects, which led them to join protests seeking a better future. Lastly, political restriction. Most of the governments in the Arab world were authoritarian. Political freedom was severely restricted and opposition was not tolerated. This stifled public participation and created a sense of political suffocation. The Arab Spring was a significant movement that began in Tunisia with the self-immolation of Mohamad Bouazizi. This act led to a revolution and the fall of President Ben Ali. It quickly spread to Egypt, where mass protests in Tahrir Square forced President Hosni Mubarak to resign. In Libya, the unrest turned into an armed uprising, resulting in the overthrow and death of Muammar Gaddafi. In Syria, peaceful protests escalated into a devastating civil war. In Yemen, protests led to the resignation of President Ali Abdul Saleh, while in Bahrain, demonstrations were suppressed through calls for reform persist. Each country faced unique challenges, but all reflected a demand for justice and freedom. That's all from me. I will pass this presentation to the next presenter.
Now, let me explain about factors of the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring was a wave of protests and uprising that began in late 2010 across many Arab countries, driven by the frustration and struggle of ordinary people. It was caused by a mix of political, economic, and social problems that had built up over years, as well as new tools like social media that help people come together to demand change. One of the main reasons for the Arab Spring was political repression. In many Arab countries, governments were ruled by authoritarian leaders who held on to power for decades. These leaders controlled everything, including elections, media, and public freedoms. People had little say in how their country would run, and anyone who criticized the government could face arrest, torture, or worse. This created deep anger and frustration as citizens felt they had no voice or right. Another big reason was economic hardship. Many countries in the Arab world struggled with the high unemployment, especially among young people. Jobs were scarce and even educated young people couldn't find work. At the same time, the cost of living was rising, making life even harder for ordinary families. Corruption was also a serious problem. Government officials and wealthy elites often took public money for themselves, while many people struggle to make ends meet. This growing gap between the rich and the poor made people feel even more unfairly treated. The youth population played a crucial role in the Arab Spring. A large part of the population in this country was under the age of 30, and many of them were frustrated with the lack of opportunities. They wanted better jobs, more freedom, and a chance to shape their futures. This younger generation was also more connected to the world through technology and social media, which helped them express their frustration and share ideas for change. Social media and technology were key tools in spreading the Arab Spring. Platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube allowed activists to organize protests, share information, and show the world the injustice they're facing. Videos of police brutality, corruption, and mass protests went viral, inspiring people in other cities and countries to rise up. Satellite TV channels like Al Jazeera also play an important role by broadcasting the protests to a global audience, giving the movement even more attention and support. The uprising were often sparked by specific events. For example, in Tunisia, Mohamad Bouzizi, a street vendor, set himself on fire to protest police harassment and the lack of opportunities to earn a living. His tragic act became a symbol of the struggle people face across the Arab world. It inspired massive protests in Tunisia, which led to the president stepping down. This success encouraged people in other countries like Egypt, Libya, Yemen, and Syria to demand change in their own governments. In conclusion, the Arab Spring happened because people were fed up with the unfair government, economic struggle, and a lack of basic freedoms. With the help of social media and technology, they were able to unite, share their frustration, and demand a better future. While the movement brought some change, it also faced many challenges, showing how difficult it can be to achieve.
My part is a chronology of event. Tunisia is about the Arab Springs began in Tunisia. It is sparked by the tragic self-immolation of the Mohamad Bouzizi on the December 17, 2010. He acts of the protest against the police corruption triggers a nationwide demonstrations. This protest forced the President Zain's El Abidin Ben Ali to flee the country by January 2011, marking the first success of the Arab Springs. Next, in Egypt, mass protests began on January 25, 2011, focused on the Tahrir Square in Cairo. People were demanding end to corruptions and police brutality and unemployment under the President Hosni Mubarak regimes. The movement gains the momentum quick, and after 18th day of the intense protest, Mubarak resigned on February 11, 2011. And then, in the Libya, protests started in February 2011 against the Muammar Gaddafi long rules. The situation escalated into the full-blown civil war, with the NATO intervening the military to protect the civilians. Gaddafi was eventually captured and killed in October 2011, ending his 40-year regime. In the same way, Yemen saw the similar protests beginning in January 2011 as a citizen demanding the resignation of the President Ali Abdullah Saleh. After a month of the unrest and the international pressure, Saleh signed a transition deal in November, handling to the power deductee. Meanwhile, in Syria, protests against the Bashar al-Assad regime began in March 2011. The government violence, the crackdown led to an ongoing civil war, causing the immense human sufferings. The conflict remains unresolved to this day. Finally, in the Bahrain protests, we are led by the Shiite majority but against the Sunni monarchy in February 2011. However, support from the Saudi Arabia and the other Gulf states, the monarchy surpassed to the uprisings. While some reforms were introduced, the core issue remained to the unaddressed. Thank you.
I'm Mohamad Shamin bin Manaf. Today I will talk about the impact of the Arab Spring. It was a series of protests that caused big change in the Arab world, affecting politics, economy, and also society. First one, we look at political impact. The Arab Spring caused the fall of leaders like Zain El Abidin Ben Ali in Tunisia, Hosni Mubarak in Egypt, and also Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. But it also led to the problem. In countries like Syria, Libya, and also Yemen, protests turned into long war. This allowed groups like ISIS to grow. Only Tunisia's success in moving to democracy, while other countries more to struggle with instability. Second impact, we move to economic impact. The protests disrupt business, trade, and tourism, causing financial problem in many countries. Unemployment, especially among young people, got worse. Reviews playing their home also put pressure on neighboring countries like Jordan and also Lebanon, while struggle to support them. Next, we have also have a social impact. The Arab Spring displaced millions of people, creating a here previous crisis. It also causes division in society based on religion and politics. On the bright side, it shows how powerful your activism and social media can be in bringing people together for a cause. We move to our last impact. This regional and global impact. Nearby countries and also global power got involved in the conflict. Making things worse, the Arab Spring also inspired protests in other parts of the world. But it shows how hard it is to create lasting change without strong institutions. So last but not least, the Arab Spring had mixed result. It removed a dictator but caused war, economic problem, and also displacement. At the same time, it showed the power of people working together for change. So that's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Nur Marini Widad binti Jaffrey, and I will continue presenting about analysis. So, the Arab Spring was a landmark event that revealed the deep-seated challenges faced by many Arab countries. First, let's look at the main drivers of the uprising. Socio-economic issues like unemployment, poverty, growing inequality created widespread frustration. At the same time, political oppression, corruption, and lack of basic freedom fueled resentment against authoritarian regimes. Technology, especially social media, played a critical role, acting as a tool for organizing protests and spreading information rapidly across borders. When we examine the outcomes, we see significant variation in Tunisia. The revolution was relatively successful, leading to democratic reforms. Egypt initially saw a regime change with President Mubarak stepping down, but political instability followed. Libya experienced a violent civil war that ended with the fall of Muammar Gaddafi, but it left the country in chaos. In Syria, peaceful protests escalated into brutal civil war that continues to this day, causing a massive humanitarian crisis. Meanwhile, in Bahrain, the government suppressed the protests and reform were minimal. Overall, the broader impacts of the Arab Spring are mixed. On hand, it raised global awareness of the demand for democracy and human rights in the region. On the other hand, many countries face lasting instability, economic challenges, and in some cases, worsened conditions. This analysis highlights that while uprising can bring immediate change, the long-term outcomes depend on the ability to build strong institutions and address deep-rooted issues. So for the next slide is lesson learned. Now let's discuss the lesson we can learn from the Arab Spring. First, it's clear that good government is crucial for stability. Governments that fail to address public grievances or provide accountability and transparency risk losing the trust of their citizens, which can lead to unrest. Second, we saw how powerful youth and technology can be as agents of change. Social media gave young people a platform to organize and voice their frustrations, demonstrating the importance of including younger generation in governance and decision-making processes. So the third one is we learn that regime change alone is not enough, while removing authoritarian leaders is significant achievement. The real challenge lies in transitioning to stable and democratic government. This requires building strong institutions, which many countries struggle to do after the uprising.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Mohamad and I'm the last presenter. As we reach the conclusion of our presentation, let us take a moment to reflect on the significance of the Arab Spring and its implication for the future. The Arab Spring was a pivotal moment in modern history, challenging authoritarian regimes and amplifying demands for justice, equality and freedom. While Tunisia stands out as a success with its democratic transition, the movement also revealed significant challenges, including armed conflicts in Libya and Syria, economic downturns, and widespread humanitarian crises. Looking ahead, the potential for similar uprisings remains high, particularly in regions where unemployment, corruption, and political repression continue to thrive. It's also important to note the evolving role of technology. Just as social media played a crucial role in mobilizing protests during the Arab Spring, emerging digital tools and platforms might shape future movements in ways we can only begin to imagine. In conclusion, the Arab Spring is a stark reminder of the power of collective action and the profound desire for change in the face of adversity. While its outcomes have been a mix of successes and failures, it serves as a critical lesson for societies and governments worldwide. As we move forward, let us continue to draw inspiration and learn from the events of the Arab Spring, striving for a future where justice and democracy prevail. That's all from us. Thank you.